Explain 5 similarities between mitochondria and chloroplasts in bacterial cells.
Mitochondria shows many characteristics of some types of bacteria. Mitochondria contain circular chromosomes and produce ribosomes similar to those of bacteria. Both mitochondria and bacteria can reproduce independently, using binary fission as their mode of asexual reproduction. Mitochondria and many types of bacteria have 2 membranes, and both types of cells have membrane systems with structures that are in similar form. They are also similar in size and their shape.
Describe the benefits to both an aerobic cell and an anaerobic cell that may have allowed for the formation of a mutually benefiting relationship to occur.
When an aerobic cell and an anaerobic cell form a relationship, both benefit in meaningful ways. The anaerobic cell gains more energy because the aerobic cell uses oxygen to produce a large amount of ATP. It also gets protection and a stable place to live inside the host cell. The aerobic cell benefits from getting food, molecules, and nutrients from the anaerobic host, which helps it survive keeping working. Since they support each other's survival and improve each other's abilities, their partnership becomes mutually beneficial relationship.
Explain why there are 2 lipid bilayers around both mitochondria and chloroplasts. How does the double membrane allow for enhanced function and metabolism?
Mitochondria and chloroplasts have 2 lipid bilayers because of what happened when their ancestor first burrowed inside another cell. A long time ago, this organelle began as free living bacteria. Another, much larger cell engulfed them through a process similar to endocytosis. Normally, anything a cell swallows gets digested, but in this case, the engulfed bacteria will not destroy. Instead, they survive inside the host cell and eventually form a symbiotic partnership. Because of that event, bacteria keep their original membrane, which became the inner membrane, and the shallowing action from the host cell created a second membrane, which became an outer membrane. This is why both mitochondria and chloroplasts show a clear double membrane structure, which is much what we should expect from endosymbiosis.
The inner membrane comes from the original prokaryotic membrane, and the outer membrane comes from the host cell engulfing vesicle. The double membrane allows for an enhanced function and metabolism by creating separate compartments that maintain concentration gradients. In mitochondria, the inner membrane space allows for the accumulation of protons needed for ATP synthesis during oxidative phosphorylation. In chloroplasts, the inner membrane and thylakoid membranes allow the separation of light-dependent reactions and carbon fixation for ATP and NADPH. Describe the difference between endosymbiotic theory 1 and 2. Explain why this is thought to have occurred twice.
Endosymbiotic theory 1 formed the mitochondria, while endosymbiotic theory 2 formed the chloroplast. The first endosymbiotic theory states that the early eukaryote cell engulfed an aerobic bacterium, and the second endosymbiotic theory states that the eukaryote cell, which included mitochondria, engulfed a cyanobacterium. It's thought to have occurred twice because mitochondria and chloroplasts have different bacterial ancestors. All eukaryotes have mitochondria, but plants and algae have chloroplasts.
Describe the societal implications resulting from this theory.
There are various societal implications as a result of the endosymbiotic theory. One that is especially interesting is how it undermines the scientific claims used to justify social Darwinism, racism, and eugenics. Social Darwinism and eugenics claim that evolution is the ladder of progress, where there is a linear progression towards a more advanced species. However, evolution isn't driven by competition among superior or inferior groups. The major leap in evolution that created all complex life was cooperation between different organisms, mitochondria and chloroplasts becoming organelles being engulfed in a proto-eukaryotic cell. So, evolution's advances aren't domination or survival of the fittest in the social Darwinism sense. They come from integration and symbiosis. Eugenics and racism rely on the misconception that humanity is divided into fixed races with different levels of evolutionary advancement. But endosymbiosis reveals that all humans share the same mitochondrial ancestry, and every human cell contains the same bacterial-derived organelles. which also disproves the idea of pure lineages. All complex organisms are inherently mixed beings and products of genetic fusion. The endosymbiotic theory shows us that evolutionary success doesn't come from isolation. Nature doesn't follow a simple competitive model, and cooperative, symbiotic, and communal processes are central to life.